Hi, welcome back to my channel, SA Sim Flight. This is going to be the second flight that I'm doing, and this is a flight that's going to take us right through from FAGG, which is George, through to FAPE, which is Port Elizabeth Airport. It's roughly about an hour's flight. Lovely scenic flight across by the ocean, and it's going to be a very nice flight. The weather should be okay. So without any further ado, let's move into Microsoft and set it all up. Okay, here we are in Microsoft, and what we're going to do now is we are going to just set up the flight. So I'm going to go into New, to the world, and I've already set the plane and everything up to make it a little bit quicker. And we've got Port Elizabeth over here, we've got George over here. So basically we're going to be flying from around about here, and we're going to fly across and we're going to land over here. So it's not a majorly long flight. It should be a nice flight. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down. We've already set up George, so I'm going to go to George over here. And here we are. I'm going to zoom in onto George so that I can get to see it. Okay. I'm going to pick this parking spot over here. Okay, that's where we're going to be taking off from, and then we're going to go across and we're going to choose our airport. And at the moment you can see that there's no airport chosen because it's not there, so we're going to just type in FAPE for Port Elizabeth, and there it is there. Okay, so we're going to come in on flight 26, so it's going to bring us around and in that way. Okay. And if you have a look, you'll see we are coming into 26. We've got all the different parking ramps and everything else. And I'm quite happy to come in on 26. So we're going to do that. Let's see. I think we only really need to get to 3,000 feet. We don't really need to have a really high flight here. Close the log. And that's it. We're ready to fly. So what I'm going to do now is let's load it up. And let it load in. Right, here we are. We're back and it's all loaded in. If we have a look from the outside, let's just open up the flight. Here we are, we're inside the plane. I don't know what that gentleman's doing inside the wing, but here we are at George Airport. And sort of across over here where my mouse is, where you can see the tower, that's the terminal, and there are Airbuses and usually 737s and things also landing here. I'm going to go inside the plane. I'm going to turn on our master and having a look either side, other than the gentleman standing inside the wing, which I still don't understand why it does that, but we're all clear to start up. So what I'm going to do is let's bring in my co-pilot, and she's going to be dealing, this is Lucy, she's going to deal with the ATC for us, and let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my strobe and my position light. We've got our master switch on. I'm going to turn my fuel pump on for this left engine. Everything else looks fine. My brake is on. I'm going to put the starter switch on, and I'm going to hold the button in. That's looking great. Turn the fuel pump off now. Turn slightly so you can see the other rotor over here. Fuel pump on. Starter on. Hold the button in. Good engine start there. And I can turn the fuel pump off. Okay, I'm now going to put my avionics on. that's all good. And just to check the feedback that came through, let's bring in ATC. Okay, so we're going to be going to runway 29, which is on the left side as we come out. It's the far side. It's in the wrong direction to where we want to be going. So with the wind direction, obviously 29 is the runway they're asking us to use. So we're going to use that, and we'll have to do a little bit of a loop once we've taken off to get back onto our flight plan and course to Port Elizabeth. But that's fine. It's not a problem at all. We can do that. Okay, so ADC we now have sorted out. So what we're going to do now is we've got everything set. I'm just going to turn on my flight director over here, which if I zoom in you can see there it is there, flight director on. And I'm just going to change our altitude to 3000. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to turn this knob. Whoops, went a little bit faster than I thought. So that's now preset for us, that's fine. Flaps, we're going to use flaps 1 today, take off, should be fine. And there we are, we're ready for pushback. So the way we're going to do our pushback, I've got the pushback add-on. I'm going to say start pushback. I'm going to put my feet on the rudder pedals now because I can control the pushback left and right with my rudder pedals and my tug speed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my tug speed up and release my brake. And if we go outside, you'll see that we're starting to move. At least the gentleman's out of our wing now. I'm just going to turn it a little bit. I'm going to increase the speed with my mouse just to make sure that we can get out a little bit quicker. This particular airport, there doesn't seem to be any actual tugs. But it's fine. I just want to get it out and across onto the tarmac. Beautiful looking plane. Okay, once I'm on the tarmac, I'll hold the tug, put the brake on, and release the tug. Here there's a bit of wind. That's about where we want to be, so I'm going to hold the tug. Okay. I'm going to go back inside the plane, and I'm going to put the parking brake back on. And we can stop pushback, and we are ready for taxi. So I'm going to put the taxi lights on. There we go. I'm going to release the park brake, and I'm going to put some power on. There we are. Get us moving. Well, it's nice and easy. Unfortunately, I have been battling a little bit with my rudder pedals since update 6 with the sensitivity, so if I go a little bit all over the place with the rudder pedals, I am working on trying to get the sensitivity of those better. I don't know if anyone else has picked up the same problem, but everything else seems to be working fine. It's just the rudder pedals are a little bit finicky sometimes. Okay. So I say this is going to be quite a nice flight. It flies from George down the sort of coastline all the way through to Port Elizabeth. There is one section or two sections where we'll be over land mainly, but there are sections where we'll be running right along the coastline. Beautiful part of the world. We will be turning to the left up here. Looks clear on that side, past the fire engines. Clear on this side. again, this left turn with the rudder pedals is fine. It's the right turn that's a little bit finicky. There we go. As I say, it tends to pull a little bit when you use the right foot. There we go. So anyone who watched my last video that I put up, or my first video that I put up, I didn't have any commentary on it. I wasn't sure if it was the right way to go, but I think it's going to be better with me explaining where we're going and what we're doing. So hopefully this one will be better received. And the idea is SA Sim Flight. I want to try and do a lot more flying around southern Africa and Africa and show some of the most beautiful parts of the world so that you can actually get to see it. You know, not a lot of people cover the area. And we have some amazing scenery and things in southern Africa and lower parts of Africa. So on this, we're going to be basically taking off flaps 1 full power. So we'll have to do a little bit of a loop when we get to the other side to come back onto our flight plan. Might be a little bit bumpy. There's a bit of cloud, a bit of rain in the air. Just going to brake here. Let's brake. Get clearance.
George Tower Sasu 797 ready for west departure at runway 29er.
Okay, let's put on the landing lights. I'm going to put the PTO heater on now. This is going uphill slightly. I'm going to put the cowl on. Turn it up a little bit. Let's give us a little bit more power. It's a little bit of an uphill slope here. We're turning right onto the runway. We've got our clearance. As you can see from our flight plan, we're actually going completely the wrong direction, but we'll change that once we're airborne. And here we go, let's take off. Going to give it full power. She takes off relatively quickly, she picks up speed. Positive rate, and here we go. Up. Going to bring the gear up.
George Tower Sasu 797 continue for west departure.
It's flying beautifully. what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in autopilot. Autopilot is on. I'm going to bring the flaps up. So if I come down, let's bring the flaps up. We're going to engage heading mode. So it's going to follow the heading, the blue bug over here. And vertical climb we're going to put up. Okay, got our vertical climb, and now she's following the heading bug beautifully. Just amazing, the graphics and the scenery in this sim. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, we're going to do a left turn towards the ocean. So I'm going to use the heading bug. This will start bringing us around.
Tower Sassam, 7907 frequency change. George approach Sassam 7907 is Tight Diamonds DA62 5 miles west of George 2,500 feet. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace. Sassam 7907 George approach. Squawk 6137. 6137 Sassam 7907. Sassam 7907 radar contact 5 miles west of George 2,900 feet. Clear through the Charlie airspace.
So what I'm doing now is we're going to be heading to the flight plan, and then once we get past the airport again, we will make a little bit of a left turn into the flight path, and then we'll pick up our navigation. See the coastline? Just looks amazing. And the noise, if you go from the front to the back of the aircraft, it just looks amazing. So we're up to 3,000. I'm going to turn off our taxi lights and our landing lights. PTO heat is on. Gear is up. Flaps are up. Cowl is on. I'm going to bring down the speed slightly so we can get back into the green as soon as we are at our cruising altitude. Oh yeah, let's just close that. Let's bring it back a little bit. She's flying well. And we have a little bit of a tailwind, 15 knots. Sitting nicely at 3,000. I just want to bring it down into the green. So I'm just pulling back on the power. Let's have a look now, see where we are. It's looking good. So we've got a cloud ahead. Hopefully it won't affect us too much. The graphics inside here are just amazing. Okay, we have passed the airport now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the plane to intercept our pink line, which is our flight plan. So I'm going to go up to heading over here. I'm going to just turn. You'll see the blue line on the right hand side going across to intercept. And once we're about to intercept, we'll change. If I come down here, I'll show you. We'll change from. So once we intercept this pink line over here, I'm then going to put it on the nav button, and then it'll follow that pink line all the way up for us. At the moment we're slightly off because we're coming in to intercept, but once we intercept, press the nav button, you'll see that the plane will straighten out, and it might do a little bit left and right, and then it'll even itself out onto the flight path. I have a lot of these buttons mapped onto the keyboard, but I'm going to do it with the mouse so that you can see what I'm actually doing. So I'm coming over here to the nav button. It should be close enough now. I can click the nav, and you should see here the plane should start turning. There it is, it's following the nav now, and it's picking up the flight path. Absolutely perfect. Here we are, bang on the flight path. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press the heading button so that the blue pointer is also following the same. So if we come off nav and we're on heading, it will be in the right position. Look on the side, and as you can see, we're following the coastline. So look from the outside. Let's turn the plane around so you can have a look. Look how beautiful that looks. A few little white caps on the ocean there. I mean, there's a bit of a cross breeze coming in. And one thing with this DA62, it flies very smoothly. The autopilot works very well on it, and it's a nice plane to fly. It's not too complicated as long as you understand some of the basics. Maybe not necessarily the fastest plane that you could fly, but it's a really comfortable and very pleasant aircraft to fly. So once we get past these small little fissures or lagoons, a little bit further up across here is a place called Neisner, famous for its festivals. So at the moment we're flying at around 3,000 feet. I've got a tailwind of around about 15.6 knots, or semi-tailwind, just crossing the back of the tail. And we're running around about 158 knots speed. And as you can see, she's very stable. Look at those clouds, they just look amazing. Looking out across the wing there, and that water below. So our co-pilot has been doing that.
7907 is type diamond DA62 12 miles west of Foxtrot Alpha Lima X-ray 3000 feet. Request flight following.
These clouds and that just look amazing. And the water. The more you fly with this, the more amazing it becomes.
Roger, Sassam, 7907.
We might get knocked around a little bit here. There's a few bumps. Bit of turbulence. There we go, a little bit. She can handle it. So as I say, we're going to be flying now along the coastline. We're coming up to the Neisner Lagoon ahead of us. And the big festival is the Oyster Festival in Neisner. Oh, we're getting rocked around a little bit here in the turbulence from the clouds. I didn't want to go too high, otherwise you don't see the scenery. Cloud just looks amazing. With this mod I've had a few issues. I don't know if it's just version 6 from the update, but occasionally you just have to keep an eye on your power levers. Occasionally they suddenly just decide to lose power, it just drops power. So you just have to be aware that that might happen. So just keep an eye on your speed. The test flight I did just to see if everything was running correctly on here. It happened to me twice where suddenly the power just dropped and the plane started falling from the sky basically, and I had to very quickly put the power back on and just reset the altitude, and then it was fine again. Here we are coming up to where the lagoon is over here, or the inlet over here. There's a golf course if you have a look to the left. Looks like we're going to be flying into a bit more cloud. For those of you that watched the first flight where we flew from Cape Town to George, when we were coming through the weather, there was quite a few rainbows, even when we were taking off from Cape Town International. So we might see one again. A few little storm clouds there on the left-hand side, but hopefully where we're flying to looks a little bit brighter. But this is live weather. We are running on live weather. We have been having a few storms the last 2 days. But the DA62 seems to handle it reasonably well. You do get bounced around a little bit, but it does handle it pretty well. So there's a bit of brighter weather ahead. And ahead of us there, when we get to the bay, that's Plettenberg Bay. Which means we'll probably be almost halfway there. Maybe a little bit more than halfway. Definitely rocking us a little bit. Looks quite stormy to the left. That blue sky through the clouds just looks amazing. To the right hand side it's not too bad. We can see the ocean. I was playing around with the liveries, that's why this livery is slightly different. It's got the orange underneath. I was trying to put the name on the side. Unfortunately, with the name on the side, there seems to be a stripe that runs through it. It looks good, but I'm sure we'll get better at it the more we try. This just looks amazing when you're coming through the cloud. The smoky, whispery cloud looks fantastic, and the reflections on the wing, that just looks amazing. Starting to look a little bit cleaner now. We're coming up to Plettenberg Bay, this big bay in front of us. And this whole section that we're flying up at the moment is referred to as the garden route. It tends to be very green, very lush, beautiful, beautiful drive up the coast. On the first video we would have passed an area called Hermanus, and that's where the blue whales come in. They breed there around about September. Take a drive through, and normally in the bay you see quite a few whales breaching out of the water. It's quite an amazing sight. And considering they travel so far, all the way from the north right down to the south to come and to have their calves and things in the bay, mainly because I think it's the temperature of the water and also how calm the bay is. They tend to come and have their calves there. As I say, quite an amazing sight if you go out and see it. this just looks amazing. I love the coastline. Let's have a quick look outside. So that on the right hand side there, that's Plettenberg Bay. Got some of the inlets here from the bay itself. That just looks amazing. Around about 4:30 in the afternoon. Look at that stretch of sand and the sea. Oh, that looks just amazing. So from what you can see on the flight plan, we're going to be flying across right along the bay here. Again, we're flying at around about 3,000 feet, not too high. We were quite lucky with this part of the flight. We didn't have to fly over any of the mountains because it's on a coastal side. So we had a little bit of a hiccup there. Coastline just looks amazing. Love the way you get this sort of white wash from the waves, and even the sea itself. If you look, it's not just one solid color. You've got lots of different shadows and effects from the water and the swells. Let's take a look from outside again. I mean, look at the effect on the water there. You can see, it just looks fantastic. Let's take a look from the other side. You can see the coastline. Really, really beautiful. And the DA62 is flying beautifully. Keeping the speed, keeping our altitude. Just going to zoom in a little bit and see what the. So we've got a bit more of a tailwind now, 24.3, something like that. It seems to be gusting between 24 and 26 behind us. But look at that coastline. I mean, that just looks amazing. Just fantastic. Little alcoves over here. Really nice. The mountains, I must admit, since version 6, or the update 6, the mountains have looked a lot better, a lot more realistic. So once we travel across here, we're going to cut a little bit across this little peninsula over here, and then we're going to be coming into an area called Jeffreys Bay, and then Port Elizabeth is just a little bit further on from there. And we're going to be flying past the airport and then turning round to come back to land. Because that water reflection is just amazing. The clouds on the wings. Wow. It really does make you feel like you're in the plane and you are flying over this area. It's just so immersive, the whole thing. I could only imagine what this would be like in VR. Be starting to cut it back inland a little bit now, as you can see from the flight path. So when I come out a little bit from the sunlight, I'm getting a bit of flickering in the shiny glary areas. Sunlight. Now, this is something else they've managed to achieve, the shadows and the effects. Just fantastic. The mountains. Looking very nice, I must admit. So there is commercial flights that fly usually from Cape Town to Port Elizabeth, or even to East London, a little bit further up. To George, they used to be. I think after COVID, they've got a lot less flights going, so it's more smaller aircraft. So if you're flying from Cape Town to Port Elizabeth, you would probably be able to get one of the commercial airlines or the budget airlines. But this is definitely looking really, really good. In the mountains and everything, you know, when you're driving in the car and that, this is what it looks like. They've really done an amazing job on that. Sort of tailwind is definitely pushing us a bit. So as I say, the next bay we're going to get to is Jeffreys Bay, and then just after that we'll be coming towards Port Elizabeth. So I mean, look at that. That just looks like a picture. I mean, that is amazing. Just looks fantastic. Really does look fantastic. Looks like we're going to hit some more cloud just before Jeffreys Bay. Hopefully it's not going to throw us around too much. The speed is nice and constant. Sitting at about 157. A little bit of whispery cloud coming in. That mountain on that side, that looks, well, look at that cloud. It's looking really nice. Roads down there looking good, some bridges, they look quite good. It's another reason why flying along the coast, rather than going slightly inland, always to stay away from the sort of higher peaks. As you can see, that peak there is not too far from the coastline. You can see it all the way along. So you can see all the way on the left hand side there's mountains now as we're coming through these clouds. Look at that, that is just beautiful. A misty cloud and that ahead, if I use my mouse maybe you can see this up here. That area there is there is Jeffreys Bay over here, and we're heading more sort of that section there towards Port Elizabeth. It's going to be around there. Got about 70 nautical miles, 72 nautical miles, 72 nautical miles. Coming back into this whispery cloud again. Rain and the weather and everything just looks really good. Looks like we're going to get quite close to these mountains over here, which I presume are those ones there. Let's keep an eye on that in case we have to manually go around it slightly. At the moment, according to that, it looks like we will miss it. We'll have to see. Mountains out that way. think we're going to go up a little bit. I'm a bit worried about that hill there, so I think what we're going to do is going to go to our altitude. So let's screw it in a little bit. Oh, too much. I'm just going to take us up to 4,000. Just take us up a little bit. Looks like they're going to take us right over the top. Once I'm over it, I can always come down again. I think that's about 3,200, so we should be well over it now. Probably bring this down. There we are, we're going to be at 3,700, that should be perfect for us. Oh yes. Yeah, we're all clear. Look at this beautiful area over there. So that there that you can see over here, that's Jeffreys Bay. Basically, Port Elizabeth is just over here. It's the next bit after the bay. And there's definitely not going to be any more mountains, so now that we've passed there, I think we can come down. Down to 2,500, I think. Okay, so we're going to come down to 2,500. Put it down slightly, let it start coming, bringing us down. There we go. So I'm just using the vertical speed to bring us up and down. So we've got approximately 55 nautical miles left. Still looks amazing out there. Oh, we're getting knocked around a little bit there. So we're going to have to come across the bay, and then Port Elizabeth is about there. So we're almost there. We're almost at the edge of the bay here. So we're coming up to Jeffreys Bay now. Looks like there's a wind farm or something coming up. I can see them blinking in the sun. Oh yes, definitely. There's a wind farm coming up. Wow. Definitely getting thrown around a little bit by the wind. Oh, it has increased. It's at about 34, 35 knots. Definitely throwing us around a bit at the moment in that wind. You can see the wind turbines. So it's a full wind farm by the looks of it. So this is Jeffreys Bay, right in front of us. And then just on the opposite side of the bay, is Port Elizabeth. See how the mountains have moved back now on the left hand side. Wind's really picking up now. It's around 38, 39 knots. Definitely blowing us quite a bit. So we're going to be going across the bay now, and then we're going to come into land. It's got up to 38, 40 knots now on the wind. It's going to be an interesting landing. Those sandbanks, the way the wind has blown them. You can see with the white caps. About 30 nautical miles. So it's right across this bay, and then that's Port Elizabeth ahead of us.
Cape Town Center, SASM 7907. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace. SASM 7907 Cape Town Center. Clear through the Charlie airspace. Cleared through Charlie airspace, SASM 7907. Charlie Foxtrot, Delta, please expedite your climb 5,100 feet.
Okay, so we're coming over the bay now. Again, beautiful part of the world, this. Look at the white caps in the water down there. And the way the wind has blown the sand. Very impressed. Looks a bit hazy though. Looks very hazy. Let's have a quick look outside. You see the white caps there now on the sea. So yes, very windy. We're looking at around about 40 knots. So quite windy. I like to use the mouse so I can point things out. I think there's another wind farm coming up over here. Now that wind is still sitting at around about 40 knots. That's going to give us some fun when we come in. I'm still learning how to land this thing properly, so it might be a bit of a challenge coming in, so wish me luck when we do come into land.
Going to 120 decimal for SASM 7907. Port Elizabeth approach, SASM 7907, 2,500 feet.
Okay, we've just been told we can continue as planned. Everything's still looking good. Always forget to put more fuel in case we needed it, but at the moment we're still fine. This tailwind I think is helping us a lot. Up to 41 nautical. So that's what we're going to be turning into to land. That'll be interesting. Another wind farm there, just off the left hand side. do now is I'm just going to zoom in a little bit over here. Nautical miles, so we must be coming close. I'm going to try and bring us down to 2000. I'm going to change my altitude. To 2000, and I'm going to do vertical. Gradually coming down. 44 knots now, the tailwind. Really knocking us around a little bit now. Bumping us. Speed again. Slow it down a little bit. According to this, we've got about 10 nautical miles. Now we have to turn further up to bring it back round, come into the wind, because I want us to land in that direction. There's actually 2 runways at Port Elizabeth. As far as I know, we're going to have to go out towards sea and then come back in. It's right in front of us there. So I think what I'm going to have to do is take over here. So excuse everything, here we go. Turn the autopilot off, and I'm going to turn everything else off, and we're going to be coming round. I'm going to have to bring him in myself, I think. Bring him in from this side. Top a little bit, that's where we're going to be going. So fly around. It's quite difficult to see, but we should be okay. more height. If anything, we want to bring down the flaps. Because the flaps are all the way down. Speed down a little bit. I'm going to bring him round, just making sure we're going to have enough room. They've already cleared us for landing. Okay, let's do a bit of a turn here. Watching the speed now.
Port Elizabeth Tower, SAS of 79er, 7 is 4 miles northeast, 2,400 feet with Gulf to land. SAS of 79er, 7 Port Elizabeth Tower. Altimeter 29er, decimal 88 with 269er and flight 1. Fly straight and runway 26. SAS of 79er, 7 with 269er.
Down, get our speed down. Let's put everything on, get everything ready. Lights on. Okay. Flaps are down. Gear is down and locked. To come in around about 85 if I can. Okay, here we go. Don't go too much lower than this. The pappies look about right. I always battle with this one when you come in with a bit of flare, because when the wind's close to the runway it can blow you all over. A little bit high now. Go back on the glide path. Up a little bit. A bit low. There we are. Getting in. It's definitely blowing me around with that wind. Definitely blowing me around. This is going to be an interesting landing. Oh, you see that gust? There we go. A little bit high. Okay, we're coming in. It's alright. Rather be a little bit longer and smooth. Flare them up a little bit. That wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad at all. impressed with that. That was a nice landing. Maybe not down the center line, but with that wind. Why is it giving me blue lines? I didn't ask for that. Okay, if they want me to go off there, we'll go off. I didn't ask for these blue lines. These indicators. I don't know why they're showing. I didn't ask for those. But okay. That's what we've just done.
118.1%, 797.
I say sometimes these rudder pedals can be a bit sensitive. I prefer without those blue lines on, but I'm not going to go and change it all now for the last bit of this flight. We're almost there now. Just going to come into the parking. Seems to be running reasonably fast. Let's just slow him down a little bit. And here we go. Turn him in now. Turn him in. There we go. Turn him in, and we'll stop him right here. Stop him there. Let's get the parking brake on. Parking brake on. Sorry, I want the parking brake on. Cowls off. These can all come off. I'm going to turn engine off. Engine off. I'm going to get up to the top here. These lights can come off. Whoops. Lights off. All off. Avionics off. And that's it. Thank you everyone for coming along on this flight. I hope you all enjoyed it. The scenery was really good, and really enjoyed that, and hope to catch you on the next one. Thanks very much, and thanks for watching SA Sim Flight.